Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Gerard Pratt, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is leading air craftsman Jonathan Barr. We warmly welcome the family of Flight Sergeant Colin Eric Mengel, whose story will be told shortly. We would also like to acknowledge Mr. Philip George, President of the Rosedale Sub-Branch, Return and Services League of Australia. As always, we welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria, and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony from across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by family, visitors, and students on behalf of the following schools. From Queensland, Barrambar Cluster of Schools, St Oliver Plunkett Primary School, Cannon Hill. From New South Wales, Burke Ward Public School, Broken Hill. And from Western Australia, Kalamundra Christian Primary School, Wollaston. If able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through until the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths of floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we remember and pay tribute to Flight Sergeant Colin Eric Mengel. Colin Eric Mengel was born on the 29th of July 1924, one of three sons born to Arthur and May Mengel of Mackay, Queensland, known as Colonel to his family and friends. Mengel was a gifted student who attended intermediate state school, state high school, and later technical college. In 1939, he sat and passed junior public examinations, achieving first-class results in arithmetic, algebra, geometry, and bookkeeping. At the age of 17, he moved from Mackay, Brisbane, to work as a clerk in the stamp duty's office. He continued to study, attending night classes in bookkeeping, accounting, and mercantile law. From June until December 1942, he gained valuable military experience, serving as a cadet in 3 Wing of the 56th Squadron of the Air Training Corps. He was a keen dancer, golfer, swimmer, and cyclist who also enjoyed playing football, tennis, and cricket. Mengel was known as a country boy with a fine sense of humour who, like his brothers Alf and Ray, loved telling jokes. Mengel enlisted in the Royal Australian Air Force at the No. 3 Recruitment Centre in Brisbane on the 4th of December 1942. He then began a period of training that saw him posted in bases across Australia, including No. 3 Wireless Air Gunners School in Maryborough, north of Brisbane, and the No. 1 Bombing and Air Gunnery School at Evans Head in northern New South Wales. On the 10th of September 1943, he sailed from Brisbane for the war in Europe. He arrived in the United Kingdom in October 1943 with a brief stopover in America. Once in England, he continued his training and in August 1944 was posted to the Royal Air Force No. 12 Squadron, which was based in Wickenby in Lincolnshire. No. 12 Squadron flew Avro Lancasters on bombing raids over Germany and occupied Europe. Mengel served in this unit as a wireless operator and air gunner. Mengel was promoted on several occasions throughout his training, and in February 1944 was promoted to the rank of Flight Sergeant. On the 23rd of September 1944, Mengel took off on board a Lancaster NG-116 on a bombing raid to Neuss, near Dusseldorf in Germany. At about 10:30 in the evening, Mengel's plane was struck by an anti-aircraft flank fire near the German-Netherlands border and burst into flames. The aircraft crashed in a wooden area near the German town of Alderkirk, its wreckage strewn over a wide area. All 7 of the crew were killed. At the time of the tragedy, Allied authorities were not sure of the fate of the crew and reported Mengel and the rest of his crew to be missing in action. This began a period of terrible uncertainty for Mengel's family and friends. Alex Ross, one of Mengel's workmates in Brisbane, wrote to his family that Cole is always a gentleman and of a cheery nature. I know that all who know Cole, especially his workmates, wish him a safe return. Mengel's father, desperate for any news about his son, wrote to the authorities that any details, however small, as to the fate of the plane of the sons we loved and cherished would be some consolation and would be appreciated. It was not until late 1945, after the war was over, that Mengel's family and friends received the notice that Colin Mengel was officially presumed to have been killed in the flying battle over Germany. He was 20 years old and he had been with No. 12 Squadron for less than a month. Wing Commander Stockdale of No. 12 Squadron wrote to Mengel's mother that, although a comparatively new member of the squadron, Flight Sergeant Mengel had become a very well-liked by all with whom he had come into contact with, and I had every confidence in his courage and ability. Back home in Australia, a street near where his parents lived is now called Mengel Street in honour of his sacrifice. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, amongst almost 40,000 Australians who have died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Flight Sergeant Colin Eric Mengel, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world. Thank you.
Please stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them. Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozieres, or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, students, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you all for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.